collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
Coming up on the programme this week, the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development gives €50,000 to Peace Players Cyprus. We'll hear from our Finance Minister.
It's an excellent event, It's an excellent event, a big event for Cyprus, an opportunity for us to portray Cyprus as a safe, stable destination to do business.
And the President of the EBRD.
Particularly helping stimulate the private sector development in a number of sectors. We really help with that. In just, 3 years, €225 million of investment.
We'll meet a man who thinks he can work out for 24 hours at a gym, all in aid of a local charity.
It's in memory of a daughter we lost 22 years ago. That was the initial reason I did this, was to do something positive out of a very negative situation. The money I knew went to a very good cause.
And the EU Commission prepares to celebrate Europe Day.
So it's going to be hopefully fun. We had done it a few years ago in Acropolis Park. Many people came, and it was one of the most successful celebrations we have done.
The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, or the EBRD as it's known, was holding its annual meeting in Nicosia this week. On Tuesday, in the early afternoon, there was a symbolic event with young basketball players from the north and south of the island, Players for Peace Cyprus, and the Finance Minister of Cyprus joined the EBRD President Suma Chakrabarti to present them with some €50,000 to promote their work. In his short speech, this is what the Finance Minister had to say.
This is a truly delightful occasion. Allow me to express a very big thank you to the EBRD for its decision to offer a very significant charitable contribution to the Peace Players Cyprus as part of the EBRD community initiative. But more than anything, I feel that I should congratulate the Peace Players themselves, who have caught the attention of EBRD, but also for the excellent work that they have been doing, enabling Greek and Turkish Cypriot youths to come together through learning and play. Peace Players Cyprus form part of Peace Players International, who aim exactly to unite communities through sport. The charitable contribution of the EBRD, as was mentioned, will enable Peace Players Cyprus to increase the number of participating boys and girls, building trust and confidence between them, and enabling them to act as agents of change, as agents of cooperation. Let me also highlight the symbolic character of this venue, which has hosted numerous initiatives over the years for the promotion of peace and reconciliation in our island. So with these few words, once again, thank you, Mr. President, for this important charitable donation, and well done to the Peace Players Cyprus.
As he left the venue, I asked our Finance Minister how important it was for the island to host something as big as the EBRD's annual meeting.
It's an excellent event, It's an excellent event, a big event for Cyprus, an opportunity for us to portray Cyprus as a safe, stable destination to do business, but primarily an opportunity for us to express our appreciation for the EBRD, our gratitude for its supportive role over the past few years.
Cyprus Finance Minister Haris Georgiadis. After the presentation of the cheque, we all went outside to the forecourt of the Chateau Status in the UN buffer zone in Nicosia, and there, while the Peace Players demonstrated their basketball skills, I caught up with the EBRD president, Suma Chakrabarti, and I asked him how important organisations like the Peace Players were to the EBRD.
Very, very important. I mean, reconciliation is very important to EBRD as a principle, inclusion, and, this is wonderful to see kids from both sides of the divide getting together. It's great, and I'm really proud that we've been able to contribute.
And can I just ask as well what you're hoping will come out of the major meeting that's taking place in Cyprus this week?
Well, a number of things. One of the main things is to showcase Cyprus as a really successful case of an economy that got into trouble and is now pursuing a very strong recovery, and the EBRD's role, and particularly helping stimulate the private sector development in a number of sectors. We really help with that. In just, 3 years, 225 million euros of investment, banks, port, SMEs, we've been across the piece. So it's a real chance to showcase that our model, the private sector model, can help in this recovery of the countries like Cyprus.
Suma Chakrabarti, the EBRD president, who gave the cheque last week to the Peace Players International as they demonstrated their skills in the UN buffer zone in Nicosia. And I'll have more for you from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development on next week's programme. It was 3 days of full-on meetings with some 2,000 delegates packing into the Philoxenia Conference Centre in Nicosia, and next week we'll be hearing about a landmark decision by the EBRD to start funding projects in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip. We'll also be hearing from an expert on Cyprus about prospects for growth and what we need to do next.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
A week tomorrow, there's an event in a gym in Nicosia that a lot of people have said simply can't be done. Mike Samaras is going to attempt to repeat something he did 22 years ago, and that is to train in a fitness gym for 24 hours non-stop. 22 years ago, Mike, you were how old?
32.
Which makes you now?
54.
Not quite the same challenge. Are you really confident that you can do this?
Yes, yeah. I wouldn't attempt to do it if I truly didn't believe I could do it.
And why are you doing it?
For a number of reasons. I think I would like to show people that if you look after yourself, if you train, have a healthy lifestyle, make healthy lifestyle choices, I'm not sure about longevity, but it does give you quality of life. So that's the first reason. That's the big reason I want to show everyone. And the other reason is a more personal reason. It's in memory of a daughter we lost 22 years ago. That was the initial reason I did this, was to do something positive out of a very negative situation. The money I knew went to a very good cause. So I did it in those times as something to use a very negative, the loss of my daughter, and to try to do something very positive from it in her memory.
And you did it for Cans for Kids then, and they're still going remarkably all these years later. So you're going to do it for Cans for Kids again? Yeah,
it was a winning formula then. I don't see why we should change anything. It still goes to a great cause. It also shows the world that Cans for Kids is still going. They're still doing the same thing, in fact, if not bigger now. And, recycling is a huge issue now. I mean, we should be recycling everything, because we're destroying the world that we live in. Why not recycle and do something good with the money?
And something good did come out of the last donation that was made in Rebecca's name.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good came out of the last time, personally, and from the story that came out of it is a wonderful story that we donated an electronic drip. Even in the photograph I have in front of me, you can just about make out the small plaque that we put on top of it that said in loving memory of Rebecca Samaras. After the event, a year later, my son was born. After 2 days, I got a phone call to say he was being rushed to the Makarios hospital because of internal bleeding. I rushed to the hospital, obviously very nervous, a little bit more than assertive with the staff nurse who was, I don't remember the lady's name, but she was fantastic. She knew how to deal with me.
And she remembered Rebecca as well, didn't she? I mean, she knew that you had particular issues when your son was taken.
Yeah, I think so. I think she remembered after the fact, because it was after she said in Greek, "Ferte din Rebecca," bring Rebecca, which I thought she was speaking about a nurse. I then saw her wheel in the electronic drip, and I didn't say anything at the time. I think it was my father that mentioned it later on, but. After that, when they reminded her of it was us that donated the machine, they couldn't do enough for us. I mean,
and it saved your son's life.
Well, it helped him, definitely helped him. I don't even know how much that machine costed. I mean, but it was the fact that we did it 22 years ago. It's a truthful story. It's a great story. And like any bad thing in life, if you can turn it around and do something positive. I carry her memory every day, and that's one of the reasons I won't fail. I mean, and the more people that tell me that I can't do it, keep it up, because it's more fuel for me that I will finish.
Let's look at the event itself. You're going to start at 10 o'clock a week tomorrow morning, and you're going to continue until 10 o'clock on the Sunday morning.
That's correct.
Now, I know that a lot of people are going to come down to support you, and Cans for Kids are hoping that a lot of people will just pass by and jolly you along, as it were, and hopefully make a donation as well. But the particular problem, surely, is those nighttime hours, Mike. When it gets to 10 p.m, you'll have been going for 12 hours. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when you look at the clock counting down and think, gosh, I've got how many more hours to do, where do you find the psychological strength to keep going?
It depends. A lot will depend on the environment there. I know I'm going to have a very good friend there that he will be there for the majority of the night. As long as the cameras aren't there, there may be some choice language. There'll be a lot of fun, a lot of joke telling. Training is routine. It's breaking barriers, and we all have barriers that we need to break. So it's the boredom. If I'm on my own, then I just put my headphones on. I listen to music that I love, or even podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people that motivate me.
You'll be able to listen to this
I'll
one
listen
back
to this
again.
podcast and probably be able to tell that I still have a very Liverpool accent when I speak on a microphone. We all have our own ways of motivating ourselves. It's the more you exercise and the more times you go through certain barriers and break them down, the more you know that you can suffer a little bit more and keep going and not have to stop.
What about the health risks, Mike? You're not a young man anymore.
No, I'm not. And I'm not going to... I have a young son, I have a wonderful wife, I have 3 beautiful children overseas. I'm not going to damage myself so that I can't enjoy the rest of my life. No, it's the training I'm going to do. I train every day functional training, which is a lot of pull-ups, burpees, and a lot of functional exercises. For this, I'm going to do one body part every 30 minutes. So it's not going to be as intense, because otherwise I couldn't manage 24 hours if I'm, going all out intense as I do most days, because usually I train for 1 hour and it's very intense. But now I'm going to just 30 minutes, I'll do chest, then I'll do back, then I'll do shoulders, I'll do legs, I may do cardio for 30 minutes and just break up the monotony by changing a body part every 30 minutes. And hopefully have a time for a bite to eat, the medical staff to check me, maybe a shower every now and again. So I think it will be a lot of fun.
Fun. OK. It will be a lot of fun if you get the support, of course. So let's remind people this is happening on the 20th of May at Koutras Gym and Training Centre in the Makedonitissa area of Nicosia. People can pass by, make a donation and perhaps train alongside you, jolly you along. There'll be a few other things, I think, possibly going on outside the gym. Healthy snacks, plenty of water donated by one of our sponsors, Lanitis Bros, and hopefully a lot of people donating online and possibly through an SMS number that's in the process of being allocated. How much are you hoping to raise?
Oh, I have no idea. As much as possible. I mean, I don't do these things very often. Last time we made, I think, a couple of €1,000 just from family and friends. I would like to double that. I'd like to triple it. I mean, the more... My goal is to make as much money as possible. I'm a very goal-oriented person, so, you know, the more people... Even if it's to bet against me, they're still putting money in the donation.
And you've had people saying, you're not going to be able to do it, I'll give you so much per hour.
The more naysayers, the better. The more naysayers, the better. I would like a special shout-out thanks to Konstantinos Koutras, who has allowed us to do this event at his gym. It's a great gym. He's been more than acceptable for all our requests, and also all our corporate sponsors who have donated or sponsored or assisted us with the setup and the help for this event. Many thanks.
So that's Mike Samaras, who will kick off a marathon 24-hour training session in aid of Cans for Kids. His Fit-a-thon starts on May the 20th at 10 a.m, continuing until May the 21st at 10 a.m. He'd like your support. You can find out more details on the Facebook event if you look for the Cans for Kids page and the Cans for Kids 24-hour Fit-a-thon event.
In collaboration with the Cyprus Mail, this is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the fourth series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
Tuesday was Europe Day, and tomorrow there's going to be a big event in Strovolos in Nicosia to mark the day. George Markopouliodis is head of the European Commission representation in Cyprus. He has all the details. George, you've been doing this now for years, and it's become quite a popular event, I think, on the calendar, because people get a chance to find out more about the members of the European Union. What have you got coming up?
Exactly, Rosie. As you say, we've been doing this for some time. We've been doing it in... we have done it in Nicosia, we have done it in Larnaca, we've done it in Limassol. This year, as you said, it's in Strovolos, in Nicosia again. And it really is an opportunity to celebrate Europe. We're going to have a lot of people hopefully coming to the Acropolis Park in Strovolos, where they will have the opportunity to get an idea of what the EU really offers. And what I mean by that, I mean, you know, good fun with many, many embassies. We will have 15 embassies of member states from the EU who will, first of all, give us very interesting information about their countries. And I have the suspicion that they will also give us something to eat from their countries, you know, interesting little things, you know, that they will have prepared. We will have also, and this is quite important for our younger friends who want to find out what Europe can offer them, we will also have information about the opportunities that Europe and European organizations can provide to young people to go and study abroad, or information on a number of programs like the LIFE program, the environmental program, the EURES network. The EURES is the network all over Europe which tries to match job seekers with jobs which are available in other countries, including Cyprus, when I say other countries, because this doesn't exclude Cyprus. We will have information on the European program of youth exchange for training. So all in all, we will have a number of European organizations that will be providing information for these opportunities. This is going to be the sort of serious or semi-serious part. We will have also the very fun part, especially for our younger friends who will hopefully come to the Acropolis Park. There's going to be music. I think there's going to be the music dance school. There's going to be a radio station, Love FM, which is going to be providing us with music and information. There's going to be a program, an artistic program by the Cyprus Love Zumba. So all in all, there's going to and games, of course, for our really young friends. So it's going to be hopefully fun. We had done it a few years ago in Acropolis Park. Many people came, and it was one of the most successful celebrations we have done.
What do the embassies, in a sense, get out of this? I mean, hopefully they generate possible interest in tourism, for example, and maybe even commercial contacts. But can you quantify whether it's successful in that sense?
Well, I think it is. First of all, it's right up the street of the function of an embassy, to promote your country in the country that you're based. So it is a very good opportunity for our member states, for our friends from the other European countries, to show to the Cypriot population, in particular the younger population, those who are also, I must say, also more European inclined, because if you're going to come to our celebration, it means that you are interested about Europe. It means you want to find out more. It means that you are more inclined to take the advantages that Europe gives you, in terms of travelling and all this kind of stuff.
And do you think that these sort of events actually get that message out to more people? Because for many years, a lot of people in Cyprus just felt disconnected from Europe. We're right on the fringes, if you like, on the southern end. Brussels seems millions of miles away, and there wasn't that connection. Does this sort of help that?
Well, I think it helps to bring people closer to Europe, and also bring Europe closer to people, which is a little bit of a funny thing to say, because at the end of the day, Europe is its people. It's not Brussels. Brussels happens to be the seat of the administration of Europe, but the people of Europe are all over Europe. You're right. There is an issue, and this gives me an opportunity to say that, very recently, President Juncker, the President of the European Commission, having said openly that we do have an issue in Europe. When I say one issue, it's more than one issue. We have issues of... Europe has gone through a lot of difficulty in the last couple of years. We've gone through the migration problem, for which we have also spoken together. We're just finishing, hopefully, we're coming out of a major economic crisis, which has given a lot of difficulties to many countries over the last 7-8 years. We're out of this, more or less. It looks good. All the Euro countries are going to post a positive growth this year, including Greece. Unemployment in the Eurozone is at its lowest since 2009. So it looks good. But, having said the but, as I said, we have the issues with migration, we have issues with terrorism, we have issues with populism. It's very easy, to attack Europe. It's not difficult. The question is it facts that attack Europe, or is it old facts, alternative facts, sometimes outright lies?
So you'll put all of that right with this event tomorrow?
We don't put that right with this event. We contribute to that. And what we want to contribute is we want to make our citizens in Europe aware of the fact that, as I said before, President Juncker came up with what we call a white paper, which proposes a number of options on how do we want Europe to look like in 2025. A lot of people, including people here in EU House, every time we have an event, You know, when it finishes, you know, and we mingle, you know, they say, oh yeah, this is okay, but it needs to change. Okay, this is the time for you to say how you want Europe to change. Do you want to continue as it is, or do you want it to change? If you want it to change, what do you want to do? Do you want Europe to do more? Do you want Europe to do less?
Will you be asking people those questions tomorrow?
Well, I think it's a little bit difficult in a sort of environment like that, which is going to be a little bit, you know, it's open air, it's going to be fun, you know, to have this kind of seriousness. But we want this seriousness, this moment of reflection, to be taken up by European citizens. It is an invitation and it is a challenge at the same time. Because I fear that there is a risk that we sometimes miss opportunities to really influence things. You know, there's no point in saying, oh, I'm not interested in participating in this exercise of actually saying how I want as a citizen Europe to look like, and then to come after the event and say, well, this is not really the Europe that I wanted. So we have an opportunity now to say, how is this going to happen? Well, we have political parties that need to take a position. Last week, we had an event in EU House with the Minister of Finance. And he, as a European citizen, you know, he expressed a clear preference for one of the options that were on the table. You know, he said that Europe needs to be doing things more concentrated, where it's producing a clear value added. This is the sort of thing we want. We also want governments to take a position. We want parliaments to take a position. We want civil society to take a position. We want individual citizens to take a position. And all this, at the end of the day, will be synthesized with a view to having European Parliament elections in 2019 clearly on the basis of the Europe we want to build, so that the political parties, be it the EPP, you know, the Christian Democrats, be it the Socialists or the left, they should choose programs, they should choose candidates who will basically promote that Europe which they want to build.
And everybody getting together tomorrow at Acropolis Park in Strovolos. Time?
4 to 7. We will be there a little bit earlier.
It's a bit warm at the moment if it's too much earlier.
If it's yes, but I think it's well. I love Cyprus in May. I mean, it's the weather is fantastic. I mean, it couldn't be any better.
The real events are happening between 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Between 4 and 7. Yes, the real event is 4 and 7.
There you are. That's Europe Day 2017 being celebrated in the Acropolis Park in Strovolos in Nicosia tomorrow between 4 and 7. And we heard the details from the head of the EU Commission representation in Cyprus, George Markopouliodis. Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.